Clarinet players, this is your video for how to make a sound on your clarinet properly, and I'll give you some tips and some tricks too if you're having trouble making a sound. Hopefully this helps. What we're going to use for this video, for this part two, if you're practicing along with me, all you'll need is your barrel of your clarinet and your mouthpiece, ligature, and of course your reed to make a sound. So we're just going to use this top part of our clarinet. We're not going to worry about the keys and all of those other things that we have to worry about. Only these pieces are what we're going to use for now. So once we can get a really good strong sound on our mouthpiece and our reed and our barrel, then we're going to continue to add that to our clarinet and we'll start learning fingers and notes and songs. So we're going to start to focus on our sound first because this is the most important part of your clarinet. This is where your sound is going to start. So we're going to have to think about muscles and keeping everything nice and tight and firm with all of our muscles in our mouth, but trying not to bite down with our teeth. And we're also going to have to think about our air and our wind that we're pushing through our instrument to try to get a nice clear sound. So starting before we even do that, you need to make sure that your reed is wet before you can play. So if your reed is dry, we make sure to get that wet. Remember, the flat side with the writing or the stamp on it goes against the flat side of your clarinet. So you're going to line that up, lay your reed on top of your mouthpiece, line it up so that it's almost right to the edge of your mouthpiece when you're looking at it. Give it a little hold with the bottom of your thumb on the bottom. Carefully take your ligature, put that over top of your reed so you don't catch it on the corner and break it. You might have to readjust it if it's moved a little bit. Remember too, you always want to make sure that your ligature is right below that little bump on your mouthpiece to make sure that that's holding your reed on properly. Once you've got that all lined up, tighten up the screws. And this takes a few times to practice, and that's okay. You'll get it figured out so you can do it fast. There's no rush. I would rather have you get it put together properly rather than rush through it and maybe break your reed. Okay, so we're going to tighten up our screws so that that's nice and tight. The reed's not going to fall off. And we've got our barrel and our mouthpiece put together, ligature with the screws against the reed, and the reed is being held on there properly and it's lined up so that I can see just a tiny little bit of mouthpiece behind it. Okay, but you never want that reed to be higher or lower than the mouthpiece. You want it almost exactly in line with the mouthpiece, and you're going to get your best sound that way. Okay. So first thing that we're going to do is creating our embouchure. So we've gone over this in class a few times too, but just as a refresher, your bottom lip is always going to roll over your bottom teeth. So that's going to protect your reed. That's where your reed is going to go. You're going to create a little cushion or a pillow for your reed to sit on. So if you roll your clarinet into your mouth, your lip is actually over your teeth. So you're protecting your reed from catching on your bottom teeth. Your top teeth, though, have to touch on top. So your top teeth touch, bottom lip is rolled over like that, and your teeth are going to touch on top. Okay? Then you're going to close your mouth all the way around that. So I'm going to roll my bottom lip under, or on top of my teeth, rather. I'm going to put my teeth on top, and then I'm going to close my mouth. Okay? You'll notice when I do that, I've got tight corners. Kind of like I almost got like if you've got dimples, you should be able to see your dimples. But it's kind of like you're kind of smiling as you're playing clarinet when you close your embouchure. So you're going to keep those corners of your mouth nice and tight and your chin nice and firm so that your cheeks aren't puffing out while you're playing. If you're puffing your cheeks out, there's going to be air escaping from the sides of your mouth, and you want that air to go into your clarinet versus the rest of the world. Okay, so you're going to close around there, top teeth touch, close around, and then you're going to blow. Okay. Okay. So I'm not doing this, right? And it kind of sounds like it's flying over top. So you can notice my cheeks are puffed out. I've got air escaping from all over the place, and I'm not getting as nice, steady, clear sound. You always want to make sure everything's nice and firm So do that check. If you want to look in a mirror while you're doing this, that's a really good way to self-check. You're going to do that again. Try it again. So keeping everything nice and tight, right? You should be able to see the okay. If for some reason you're doing that and you get a really loud squeak or like a really out of control sound, I've got way too much in my mouth. Okay, so if you've got too much in your mouth, the pressure is going to be in a different place on your reed versus back here. So basically, you want about this much of the clarinet in your mouth when you're playing. You never want to put the whole mouthpiece in your mouth. You never want to just put the very edge of the reed in your mouth. What happens is then the reed and the mouthpiece don't have a lot of space in between, and your air has to get through that little space. So if you're biting too tight or if you're too close to the edge of that, it's going to close off and no air is going to go through. If you've got the whole mouthpiece in your mouth, then you've got way too much space for your air to go through, and you're going to get those really big, loud, squeaky sounds in between. So you're going to want to make sure that you're, about a quarter of the mouthpiece in your mouth, right about there where my fingers are. That amount should be in your mouth. So your top teeth are going to touch up here. Your bottom lip is going to roll under. So you've only got that little bit in your mouth, and you can kind of experiment with that. But like I said before, check the mirror. Make sure you're not too far in or too far out. And always make sure your bottom lip is rolled over your teeth to protect your reed when you're doing that. Okay, so again, I'm going to roll over. Top teeth touch. Close. After I get ha, 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 ha. My tongue is actually going to touch the edge of my reed, not my teeth, right? No teeth on your reed. Your tongue is okay. And that's called tonguing or articulating your notes. So we're going to try 4 sounds in a row with my tongue. So see, 4 sounds in a row. And all you're doing is ha, ha, ha. Every time your tongue pulls away, that's going to allow the air to go through your clarinet. So you think of it kind of like a little lever going. Your tongue is actually touching every time you tongue one of those notes. So see if you can play 4 notes in a row like that on your clarinet. You can try, see how long you can play for, see how long you can get your air to last for. But the whole point of that is if you're having trouble making a sound, use more air than you think you need. Sometimes you really got to blow to get a sound because when you blow lots of air, your reed's going to vibrate. That's what's going to give you the sound. You always want to make sure that you're using lots and lots of air, and you're trying to make sure that you're keeping the corners nice and tight in your mouth so that your cheeks aren't puffing out, and trying to make sure you're kind of smiling when you play. And then you can try to actually tongue those different notes as well. So you're doing that on your reed. So those are some little exercises for you to work on your sound, and also really good practice of just putting the reed onto your clarinet and lining things up properly. Check in the mirror, make sure that you're looking the way that you need to look. Try to control those things and all those different muscles in your face to try to keep everything nice and tight so that you don't have puffy cheeks. If you have trouble, come and let me know in the band room. I can help you, or else good luck practicing.